All right, are we live? Does this work? Mr. Clinton, are you here? So we got a couple of things that I thought it would be worth announcing here. So the first thing that I want to announce here is that we are very close to striking a deal with a makerspace to do the workshops that I was talking about a few weeks ago. So a few weeks ago I started doing these free workshops at my store. And the issue is I can't really fund my own workshops at my own store as a director of my own 501c3. So all the workshops that I did that were open to the public where you could come and you could learn how to fix things, and I showed people how to solder, run jumpers, we fixed the radios and all sorts of stuff for people who came in. This was all being done with my own equipment at my own store on my own time with my own employees. We are going to be issuing a grant out to a makerspace to get all of this equipment. So to get top-line soldering irons, microscopes, soldering tools, all that stuff, as well as phone repair tools. And it's also included in the grant is going to be money to pay a top-level instructor to be there so that people can come in for free, but they could learn how to solder, they could learn how to run jumper wires, they could learn how to fix things and all that type of stuff. I think I'm talking to myself here because it doesn't show my stream is working. Excuse me. Let's see. Here we go. Yes, I guess it is. So there's going to be a makerspace that if I finish getting everything set up, people will be able to come by. They'll be able to work with an expert level instructor. You could bring in, your cell phone charge port that you want to help soldering, or, excuse me, I got to sneeze at the worst possible time too because I just started streaming. Oh, this is so stupid. Okay, now it doesn't want to sneeze. That's obnoxious. That's obnoxious. So that I'm going to be working out in the next few weeks, and that's the idea. I did a pilot of that idea at my store just to see if there was interest, and there was massive interest. So now I just got to find someone that can run the workshops that's not me. So it has to be someone that has really good experience when it comes to micro soldering, electronics repair, troubleshooting, and all that stuff. And the purpose of the grant is going to be so that makerspace can offer this workshop for free so that anybody who shows up does not have to pay to enter. So you could be broke the same way I was when I started in this business, and you can learn from someone who can kind of give you an idea of what you're doing wrong with soldering and your troubleshooting and everything else, whether you're soldering Arduino pins and headers or you're trying to do micro jumpers or any of that stuff. The second thing that I wanted to go over here is that I found a top-tier member of the iPhone motherboard repair community who's going to be posting to repair.wiki over the next few weeks. So repair.wiki over here is a place that I have posted a bunch of troubleshooting information to in the hopes of attracting other people to post said troubleshooting information. And at the Prepaid Wireless Expo, I met someone who was open to posting a lot of good data. So I just finished setting up a contract with him, and the same way that you have all this type of very, very detailed information for MacBook board repair troubleshooting, there's also going to eventually be a lot of iPhone repair troubleshooting showing up as well, so I'm really happy about that. Third announcement, over the next 2 to 2.5 to 3 weeks, depending on how long this takes, I am going to be doing a tour in Massachusetts to try and get more repair shops engaged. So usually when I show up at a legislature, I show up the day of the hearing, and I'm the only one there, or I'm one of 2 people there, and I'm not from that state, so I'm not taken seriously. So what I'm doing is I've made a list of all the electronics repair shops in Massachusetts that have working contact forms on their website. Surprisingly, 5 of them did not have working contact forms on their website. But I have this list over here. Wait a second. Wrong page. Sorry. Excuse me. I apologize for the allergies here. Okay, here we go. So there's a link down below. I've censored the emails and phone numbers because some of these are public, but some of the repair shops gave me their private cell phone or their private email, and I just didn't want to make that public here. But you could see in the description down below, there's a link to a sheet, and I plan on I'd like to visit as many of these repair shops as possible, talk a little bit about a plan that I had to get their customers engaged. So I just had a little idea of how to get their customers to actually show up at legislative hearings, or at the very least email or call. I have an idea on how to do that. I talked about it at the Prepaid Wireless Expo, and I'd like to speak with the repair shop owners about it. And I'd also like to try to get repair shop owners to actually show up, which requires planning ahead of time. So instead of, just me doing a video saying, hey, show up at this hearing a day before, I'd like to actually visit and create a personal relationship with each of these repair shops to the extent that I can actually get them to advocate and show up on the day of the hearing. Here's the day of the hearing. here's what we're going to be doing, here's what room we're going to be in, or if it's on Zoom, here's the way it's going to be conducted, here's what I need you to do. So I'm going to be doing a little tour around the state of Massachusetts to all of these different places here. So I have a list of repair shops. I censored a bunch of crap here, and I left out some other info. But I put, did they reach out to me? Yes or no? And did I reach out to them? And if there's a yes for both, they reached out to me and I reached out to them, then they're added to the list of people that I will visit. If there is a no for reached out to me, I may visit depending on whether I have the time and depending on how far out of the way they are. My ideal would be to visit every electronics repair shop in the state of Massachusetts while I'm there. I realize that may be a little unrealistic because you have repair shops that are 80 miles away from everything else in the state. So a 160-mile round trip to check out one place may not make sense. But this should be interesting. This should be fun. I want to see if this makes a difference. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. Maybe it does. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. But you don't know until you try. And what I want is the next time there's a hearing, I want the politicians' doors to be getting beat down, honestly. I want them to have a knock on their door every 5 seconds when there's a lobbying day. I want there to be this many lobbyists, this many repair shops. I am so tired of it being this many lobbyists, this many repair shops. No. This many repair shops, this many lobbyists. We're gonna make it work this time. So I'm excited. I'm gonna be driving around Massachusetts. Hopefully they drive there better than they do in Lumberton, but I guess for first time for everything to figure it out. So those three things. So we're moving forward with the Repair Preservation Group is moving forward pretty well with getting those free workshops out to people. Once I'm done solidifying this deal for a grant at this makerspace in New York City, the next is Repair.wiki. I'm working on beefing it up, and I found some people that are really willing to contribute some good shit to it on the iPhone side and GPU repair. Someone who does professional graphics card repair, not just reflowing bullshit, but actual circuit analysis and repair is going to be posting stuff. And I am going to be doing a repair shop tour over the next few weeks in Massachusetts. If you are a repair shop in Massachusetts and you want to be a part of this, do email me. The email is going to be lewis@fight2repair.org. Let me actually edit the stream description to have that in there. I think it should. Repair shop tour. If you want to be included in MA, email lewis@fight2repair.org. Thank you. So you can see if you're in that list. If you are not in that list, you are welcome to email me. And if you're not crazy far out of the way, you may get added to the list. And we'll go from there. And if you're on this list and I've contacted you and you haven't contacted me and you believe in the right to repair crap in general, just check your inbox. Because, again, these are all the stores that I've looked at so far. And I'm excited to get some progress here. I really do want to organize this industry. I want to get people rearing, ready to go. And are you streaming on Library too? No, I don't stream to Library. We tried reaching out to Rich Rebuilds. You know, the funny thing is he may actually be in New York when I'm in Massachusetts. That's the funny fuck. We always miss each other. He was in New York while I was in fucking Lumberton. He's going to be in New York when I'm in Massachusetts, and he's from Massachusetts. So that's just funny. I'm a part of an IT union in Denmark that recently became a part of Right to Repair. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for all the work that you do. Any thoughts on crypto? Yes, it's a consensual Ponzi scheme. Why did you delete a video 30 seconds after you uploaded it? Because I did. Because I had to delete it. It's gone now. It's gone. Why do you think I deleted it? Let's try to answer your own question. Why would you delete something right after you uploaded it? Think about that. Matt Jones funded $1. Thank you. Much love from Australia. Do you have any tips for running a successful event? I have no fucking idea. I don't know what type of event you're running, and I also don't run events. I don't go to events, honestly. What's your thoughts on Fairphone? My thoughts on Fairphone. It doesn't work in the U.S., so I can't try it, so I can't really give you much of an idea. Moderna or Pfizer? I got the Moderna vaccine, and apparently that seems to be more resilient against Delta than Pfizer, so I'm happy with my Moderna so far. I have not turned into a cat. My DNA has not been modified. I have not died. I am happy. Moderna, I'm happy with my Moderna vaccine. Did a good job. Went to Vegas. I was surrounded by a bunch of unmasked people in Caesar's Palace, talking, shaking hands, all that stuff. Still here. Happy with my Moderna. Good little vaccine. Good little vaccine. Knock on wood. Knock on wood, as Biden said before 13 people died. Oh man, that was a clusterfuck. No one's dead yet. Knock on wood, bro. Don't say that. Don't say that. Oh man. Any thoughts on new communism laws? I don't know of any new communism laws. I think you're watching too much crazy shit. Not aware of a law in communism. My fat monkey is a fixer. What? Oh, dear God. You've been chipped. Microsoft can track you now. You know what? I forget if it was Paul or Anel, but once people at the store started getting vaccinated, somebody walked around and changed everybody's homepage to Bing. That that was funny. I appreciated that. Can you stick a magnet to your arm? No, I cannot. No, I cannot. Where is your lovely cat? He was here in the beginning and he's disappeared. There's apparently a lady selling forged verifications of vaccinating. I mean, in my high school, there was a bathroom stall where someone was selling fake IDs, so that's not really surprising. IDs are way harder to forge, way harder than these shitty vaccine cards, so that's going to be coming for sure. You put the bad in baddie, huh? Talking of genetic and thoughts, engineering, any thoughts, for example, about CRISPR? I've read about CRISPR, but I don't have enough intelligence to really speak about that. Would you open a cell phone company based on right to repair and privacy principles? Probably not, because I don't have enough money to do that. And I tend to fuck up every business that I start or get involved in, including this one. You may think that Rossmann Repair Group is massively successful. It really isn't. Like it could have been way more successful, but I'm a fuck up and an idiot. So it's a small shop in New York City that owes $92K in back rent instead of being a multinational franchise all over the world. When you think about the amount of branding and goodwill that this company has and the fact that I only have one store, I really am a fuck up. Like I'm not. People think I'm this genius business person. I am not. We talking about genetic engineering. Any thoughts about CRISPR, says Acton. Jessa Jones, who is my good friend and colleague, and she's also a board member at Repair Preservation Group, she has a PhD in molecular genetics. I failed chemistry and had to cheat to get out of high school. So that's a question that I would highly suggest asking Jessa Jones at the channel iPad Rehab. She streams frequently. I'd highly suggest asking her in a comment. She could talk forever about stuff like that. She really could. She used to talk my ear off about it, and then at the end of the sentence, she'd go, "You're not listening, are you?" And I go, "No, I'm listening." She said, "Tell me what I just said." And I go, I don't understand. I'm not a genius with genetics. But definitely ask Jessa Abdi, because she would have a lot to talk about. Let's see. She would have a lot to talk about. I can stick a magnet on my arm, it just won't stay, someone said. What does AMA stand for? It stands for Ask Me Anything. It stands for Ask Me Anything. Let's see. We have 371 live viewers. That is cool. That is cool. We have the same number of actually half the number of live viewers I had in 2016 when I had 40,000 subscribers. Go Susan W. I actually appreciate this because it means I'll actually be able to answer more questions. I like it when the chat is somewhat normal. I'm only 2 minutes behind instead of 20. How much time are you still invested in doing repairs? I haven't been doing repairs for a while now. You are now susceptible to Merrick's disease. You know what? I'll trust my doctor over YouTube on that. Was in New York City on Saturday and swung by. What happened to the overhead sign? It was harder to find it than it should have been. I've never had an overhead sign. At the old store, I only had it for a few years. There's a lot of misery and permit hell that you have to go through to put up a sign in New York City. It's like $3,000 to $6,000 for the permit. Fuck. I refuse to do that. I'm not giving this any money. Everybody who finds this business, this is not an impulse-based business. It's not like I didn't want chocolate, but now that I see there's a chocolate store, I'll buy chocolate. Like, nobody goes, I didn't need component-level logic board repair, but now that I see they have it, maybe I'll go in and sample their component-level logic. Like, nobody samples data recovery and logic board repair. You come to this store if you're fucked. And if you're fucked, you go online, you do your research, you figure out where the fuck we are, And then once you are actually at 141 West 27th, you're not going to not walk in because there's no sign. You're going to see that there's a thing on the so yeah, I don't have a giant sign because a giant sign attracts the wrong business. Like when I finally got my sign put up, the sign, I think I answered that when it came through very late. The sign attracted people that would bring in their clock radio from 1967, their iPhone 3 that they wanted to know how to make faster. Like the sign doesn't bring in the customers you want. You want the customers that did their research to figure out that they need to go here. And plus, I just don't feel like fucking paying the city for another fucking permit and having to deal with another fucking fine. So I'm protesting the city requiring a permit for signs by not putting up a sign. I don't need a sign. I don't need a sign. This is 2021. Google Maps, Yelp, all this other shit, City Search. People can find me that way. I work IT for NASA. Really support what you do. Right to repair is extremely important for our legacy systems. I will testify alongside you when Right to Repair comes to Texas. Thank you, Billy. I hope that it does make progress in Texas. I know they were pushing a medical bill a lot recently, and the Wall Street Journal had a lobbyist from there that was fear-mongering regarding the medical right to repair in Texas. So thank you very much. And you know what? Even if we don't get a consumer electronics one, I'd highly appreciate if you could testify in favor of the medical people. Show up for those ones because they need help too. My MacBook is not working. I don't live in New York. Do you accept mail-ins? Yes. Check out rossmanngroup.com. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I have a 2013 Mac Pro. Can I bring it to you for a cleaning? You can, but I'm just going to take a thing of canned air and just put it inside and go vroom. I'm not canned air. I have an air compressor. So yeah, I'll blow the junk out of it for you. We usually don't bill people for that. How do you feel about adding multiple languages to the Repair Wiki? The problem is that it's constantly changing, so I don't know how you add different languages to it because it's constantly changing. So I'm kind of curious how you would do that versus a normal translation. Is there any way we can get involved with the Right to Repair campaign besides donating? Talk to your local politicians. Repair.org honestly has a good website so that you can figure out if there's a bill in your state, and if there is, it automatically figures out who your congressperson or your senator is and directs the message to them. It's an excellent system. Check out Repair.org for that. How can I help Right to Repair? Talk to your politician. Talk to your politician. John Campbell on YouTube could be your guide to debug arguments around the current health situation. I actually found two people. I found a PhD in coronaviruses and a PhD in virology. And one of them has already agreed to do a show on this channel, which I really appreciate. So what I did is I collected a list of citations, sources, and issues that a bunch of people who were anti the COVID vaccine have presented on my channel from my Discord. I sent it to this PhD in virology, and I pretty much told her, here. So can you give me a list as to what you think of everything here and why this stuff is wrong? And can you explain it in a non-condescending fashion where you're not berating people, where you're not talking down to them, and where you're understanding their concerns? And she said, sure. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Because one of the things I've said is a lot of people have called me anti-vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm anti-mandate. And rather than actually engage with me on the fact that I believe that you will get more people, it's a trust issue, right? It's a trust issue. Like, so when you issue a mandate to do something, you're removing the trust. You're removing whatever trust is left, and there really is very little trust left. But the trust is the issue, and you're just making the root cause worse. I'm very pro-vaccine. I just would like to be able to communicate it to people in a manner where they're more likely to listen, rather in the manner that the news and everybody else typically communicates it to you, which is talking down to you and talking to you like you're a piece of trash. And I think that would motivate and incentivize more people. But yeah. What are your degrees? It's about my air conditioner is at 72 degrees right now. 72. Another chat with Mr. Sharp. Maybe. Yeah, I'd love to. Do you ever fix Donald Trump's Mac? I have not. I didn't know that Donald Trump used a Mac. I'm pretty sure he could buy a new one. Have you gotten any threats from people lobbying against Right to Repair? Oh, no, nonsense. At some point, what they're going to do is they're going to go through my entire channel, every stream I've done, every video I've done, find something that I've said, find something that I've posted that's controversial, take it out of context, and use it to paint me as a piece of shit. I'm surprised that hasn't happened. Like, that should have happened 5 years ago. But that's coveted. That's coveted. I can't wait for it. What, in your opinion, would something suited better for the future? The ability to work on more than one brand? or just one when it comes to repairing? What in your opinion would something suited better? Fuck. I really like Mario and his questions, but I can't read this one. The ability to work on more than one brand or just one when it comes to repairing? You can have the ability to work on more than one brand. The question is, can you do it in a competitive fashion, an economically viable fashion? If you want to work on some other random brand and a custom... Fuck me. At a Linus, Apple, Microsoft, fuck... What? Okay, that's weird, but I'll take your $5. Back to the other question. I mean, the problem is most customers want you to give them their device back within 1 or 2 days. And if it takes you time to order parts, by the time your parts come in, your customer's already calling you, asking why it isn't done and getting mad at you. At least that's my experience in New York City. So the reason I work on one brand of products is because it makes it easy for me to offer the turnaround times that allow me to maintain a 4.9 to 5-star rating on Google Places. Do you think self-repairing circuit boards will ever exist? Sure. A few hundred years from now, maybe 1,000 years from now. If you get that interview set up with that guy about the coof, please don't put it on this channel. It's so risky. If anything doesn't match WHO guidelines, it's grounds for channel removal. It is what it is. If I manage to influence people to get the vaccine by actually having a conversation without being condescending, that actually takes all the anti-vaccine people's concerns, takes them seriously, lists them seriously, and responds to them without being a condescending piece of shit, if that actually gets more people to get something that may be better for their health, I don't give a fuck if that means my channel gets deleted. At the end of the day, what's more important? My personal YouTube channel or like... I mean, that my YouTube channel would be a very, very small price to pay if it means that I'm able to help people make decisions for themselves that are good by being a bridge between some really smart scientists and virologists and people that have no trust for anybody in the media or the government over the past 5 years. I'm more than happy to be a bridge for that conversation. And if it means my YouTube channel goes away, then fuck it. What do you think that Britney Spears got a contraceptive device forcefully implanted in her against her will because psychiatrists decided she can't make her own decisions? I don't know. Britney Spears sounds like a Republican to me. I'll be honest with you. Think about it. Like she wants the freedom. She wants the freedom to go outside where she wants. She wants the freedom to go to work when she wants. She wants to choose her own health care. I mean, she sounds like she really does sound like a 2021 Republican. Okay, but all jokes aside, I think that's fucked up. Like, okay, like, how do I put this? So at some point, we used to lock people away if they were mentally ill. We wouldn't just let them walk the streets. We would institutionalize them. And we stopped doing that. And that's a big part of the reason that you have lots and lots of people on city streets that it's very, very obvious. Fuck, I can't answer these questions at this speed. Fuck. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste that because I don't want to lose where I am here. 1 second. Going to copy and paste that over here. I don't want to lose it. I know there's a list on YouTube, but sometimes the YouTube list gets fucked up. Shit. Where's my notepad? God damn it. Fucking damn. The thing is, so if we're not going to institutionalize people that are screaming and tossing shit at themselves on the street and talking about killing each other that are homeless on the street, then why is it Britney Spears has to get something injected? And like, how do you have that much control over her? When she may be a little crazy, but she don't seem anywhere near as crazy as what would be necessary for her to have as little freedom as she has right now. We give more freedom to people screaming at the wall on the street. The crazy people that wind up actually pushing people off the ledges of subways and getting them hit by trains, we give more freedom to them than we give to Britney Spears. That just seems fucked up to me. To be clear, I don't know the entire story. I don't know the whole Britney Spears story. I'm not a personal friend of the family. I don't know everything involved in it. But it just seems weird that as we have shifted to a society where we're less likely to institutionalize the severely mentally ill, we've also shifted to a society where someone like Britney Spears can have absolutely no freedom whatsoever. It's very fucked up. If you shout for Clinton, how quickly does it come to run to you and sit in the arm of the chair? Clinton? Mr. Clinton? Mr. Clinton? Come here, Mr. Clinton. Mr. Clinton? Here, Clinton. Robust. Yeah, he's not doing it. Not saying don't do it, just don't use your main channel. If I don't use my main channel, then nobody will watch it. And if nobody watches it, then what's the point? Again, if I can have an honest conversation with a virologist and a PhD in coronaviruses that actually goes through every single... Because here's the thing. When you listen to the news, they just say all the anti-vaxxers are idiots. These people are morons. They're retards. They're dumb. They want to kill people. They're selfish. They don't care. No, they have some serious fucking concerns. Let's go through those concerns, and let's have a virologist and a PhD in coronaviruses answer every single one of them and actually treat them like human beings. Because you know what that does? That makes more people comfortable with getting vaccinated. If that happens on this channel, if that happens on a channel with 1 subscriber, nobody will watch it. It won't do anything. If it happens on this channel, then it'll have more of an effect. And if that results in my channel going away, whatever. I had a good run. I had 11 years on YouTube. I'll get another hobby. I really do think that this has the ability to get somewhere. Do you text diagnose over the phone? Oh, hell no. No, that never works. Because A, nobody's honest. And B, no, the customer doesn't have what's necessary to, like, they don't have, if I say, can you measure between pins 17 and 18 on the ISL 6259 with the battery unplugged, what ohms do you get? Like, that's never going to work. And they're never honest. Did you spill water on it? No. No. I mean, 99% of the people that walk in the store lie about spilling water on it. That would never work. You miss Spectrum Internet. No, I don't, but the world was a better place when I had Spectrum Internet, so I do miss that. I'm designing an easy-to-use IRE workstation with auto profiles, touchscreen, aimed to novice and expert users. Can I send you a pre-production sample for you guys to use or test? Also, the project is fully right to repair compliant, schematics used. You can, but I must mention my bias. I hate IRE work. I hate it. I much prefer hot air. I prefer air to IR. I despise IR, so if you send it here, you are going to get a very, 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 very biased man who has miserable memories of trying to make use of a Scotel IR 6000 V4 in the olden days. So I'm more than happy to have someone like Chris or Paul go over it, but we are a massively biased against IR rework shop. I much prefer hot air to that. So, but I could have one of them do the review. I know that I wouldn't be able to do it because I have too much bias. I would be scorning it immediately, even if it was a really good one. I much prefer hot air. This is boring as sin. I may have to leave soon. No, you're gonna leave now, mofo. You're out of here. Bye-bye. You fucking jackass. Next. Lewis's coronavirus video series will be called Right to Despair. How serious are you about moving out of New York City? If it's definite, how far along are you with that? I have to find a place that I like. And I keep getting tossed up with other things. Like there was a class last week. There was that Vegas trip that I got tricked into. I have this Massachusetts lobbying thing. After that, I'd really like to start doing some more road trips to find a place. Lewis, seriously, the scientific method is grade school level. Trust the science is deadly stupid. Normalize intelligence, theory, problem, procedure, hypothesis, etc. Go. I appreciate the $10, but I don't get what you're trying to get across. I'm sorry. Where's that message that I missed? Yeah, so once I'm done with the Massachusetts tour, I'd like to do some more traveling around. And how quickly it goes really depends on how my landlord deals with this whole $92,000 of back rent situation. And moving forward. Like, if they're going to keep the rent at what it is right now going forward and no work on back rent, then I got to get out of here as soon as humanly possible. And I'm glad that I have a lease that's written in a manner where I can just hand them the keys and go. But that's something that I'm in the process of working out, because I'm not letting the debt level go over 6 figures because that is actually tied to me personally. So if I can leave at any given time that I want, and I'm not stuck in my lease. So if I leave tomorrow, as long as I don't destroy the place, here's the keys, enjoy, I'm off the hook. But anything I didn't pay up to that point, I'm on the hook for, and at this point, that's approaching 100K. So yeah. Well, you cannot use hot air to replace CPU or PCH or GPU and graphics. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Zao Mao. Yes, I am a Zao Mao fanboy. Here, this is what I have. Check it out. Oh, look, it still shows up on Google. This is my demo. That's the Zao Mao. Zao Mao. How much scientific method do you remember off your hand? Problem, hypothesis, procedure, test, conclusion? I don't know. I did the same bullshit science project every other kid did, which is you put a cup of water in different spots of your house and you see how much water evaporates, and you put a plant in different parts of your house and you see how much growth you get before the plant dies. I was a lazy student as a kid, so I always did the bare minimum with that stuff. Thank you for your motivational bully videos about bullying. I was bullied as a kid. I'm sorry to hear that, Deborah. I'm sorry to hear that. Hope it got better as you got older, though. For many people, I've noticed it gets better as they get older, but simultaneously, the people that were bullies often have shittier lives when they grow up. That's one of the beautiful things about Facebook, is you can look up your bullies and see that they're the kid that bullied you because he was wearing Nikes and you were wearing Everlast actually has a job where he makes less than your receptionist. Stuff like that is pretty interesting. Okay, I'm behind a little bit. When can we get a solid 10 to 15 minute long video of straight up kitty cat playtime? It's gonna happen. How long did you go to college? About a year and a half, but it was very on and off. Have you thought about doing YouTube or Reddit ads? Not really. Paid advertising doesn't... There's no real way to tell if it works because you can't tell if that person would have found you even without the ad, without a time machine. Do you have any thoughts on Google's arbitrary expiration dates on Chromebooks? How can they predict if a machine will no longer be able to run their OS 6 years from now? Seems like a money grab. Kind of does seem like a money grab. I didn't know much because I don't follow Chromebooks much. I should ask Justin Millman about that. He's a board member of Repair Preservation Group. He has a repair shop in Long Island, and he exclusively fixes Chromebooks for schools and iPads. iPads and Chromebooks for school districts all day long. I gotta ask him about that. It sounds like bullshit to me. Thank you, ZZT Quest. You are not anti-vaccine since you've already taken it. Yeah, what people say is that because I'm against the mandate, that means that I'm anti-vaccine. But A, I've been vaccinated, and B, the reason I'm against the mandate is because I want people to get vaccinated. When you issue a mandate, what that does is it hardens people in their initial position, which is I don't like this. And so if you issue a mandate, essentially if the reason they're not getting the vaccine is lack of trust, and then you issue a mandate, now they have even less trust, which means there's even less likely chance they're going to get it. So I actually want to see people get vaccinated, which is why I'm anti-mandate. If anything, by that logic, I could say the people who are pro-mandate are anti-vaccine because mandates make people less likely to want to get a vaccine. But I try to not use that type of shitty logic on people. You should do a walkthrough of 34th Street between 8th and 6th Avenue. I heard there's only 2 stores open left at Manhattan Mall, and Penn's Underground stores are all boarded up. Okay, one second, I'm going to write that down. 34th Street between 8th and 6th Ave. That sounds like bullshit. Because I think that's bullshit, but I'm going to stop by because I don't know if it's bullshit, and it would be kind of cool to see. I don't walk by that area anymore. Stream notes. A real estate prediction for vacant Madison Avenue units is that landlords are waiting for Eric Adams will give them tax abatements. Madison Square Garden pays 0 in taxes. Ding Dog says you look exactly like Larry Sharp. I've heard that. I've gotten that a lot. That's not why I voted for him. Do you have any new merch for Right to Repair or shirts? I don't, and I gotta get stuff like that made, but I'm not good at making merchandise. That's not my thing. I gotta find someone who does that and manages stuff like that. When it comes to branding, design, merchandise, these are 3 things that I am not known for. That's the best branding I ever got was the banner on my YouTube channel that says Fanspin that was made by the lovely Erica. She did it as a draft. She was so pissed that I published that. She just drew it with her pencil, and I thought it was beautiful, so I took a picture, and she's like, no, this is not finished. This is not professional. Chromebook devices have a registered ID where Google has the high ground to stop updates. This, in turn, gives them revenue for new devices because the old ones get obsolete at some point. Yeah, this is part of the problem, is that people will just say, well, just don't buy Apple. Just don't buy this. Just don't buy that. Every company does this now. Every company does this. It's very, 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 very difficult to avoid buying from a company that respects ownership. It's very hard. Because very few companies do. And even if you buy from a company that does expect ownership, the companies that create the components that make the device may not respect ownership. Thoughts on increased automation due to the COVID? That's a very general question, so I don't know how to answer that. It's not very specific, and I'm not good at answering very general questions without specifics. Thoughts on increased automation due to COVID? I definitely think that the more there are social distancing requirements or lockdown requirements, I think the more that you have that, the more you're forcing companies to accelerate the move to being as automated as humanly possible. You're accelerating a trend that would have happened anyway, but I think it's going to be happening way, way faster. There's a doggy outside and he's mad. What's your thoughts on 88,000 immigrants been imported since April 14th? I don't really have any. I don't know. Most of my bad experiences that I've had with other human beings come from bums that were homegrown rather than immigrants. I know, not the popular opinion. I don't really care. All the problems that I've had in my life with other people tend to be with people that were born here. Most of the bums that I meet, where I just think where I think to myself, you are never going to amount to anything. You don't care to amount to anything. You are the definition of a bum. Has been someone who was born here, whose parents are born here, whose parents are born here. But I think that there is well, I'm not using the right words here. It's not selection bias. It's something like that. It's some bias. I figure it's some bias or slant, because when you meet immigrants, you're meeting the people that were not afraid to leave their country and travel 2,000 or 3,000 miles to someplace new with little understanding of the place, no guarantee that they have a place to stay, limited understanding of the language. So by that alone, you're kind of meeting the best of that population, I imagine, just by virtue of the fact that they're open to doing that. That takes some balls, and I think some intelligence. Thoughts on Chris Pirillo? What is a Chris Pirillo? Free will. I would jump off a bridge right now if I had any reason to believe in determinism. 100% free will. Let's see. How often do you get recognized in the street? More often than I'm comfortable with. I'll leave it at that. More often than I'm comfortable with. I shouldn't be getting recognized in the street. At best, I'm a D or F list YouTube celebrity. Nikesh Patel funded $5. Thank you. Wouldn't libertarians oppose right to repair in principle since it adds regulations to a marketplace? It kind of does add regulations to a marketplace, but those regulations are kind of there to unwind and untie the ridiculous, asinine intellectual property regulations that already exist. Also, most of the people that tend to be anti-right to repair are very pro-DMCA, and that is not something that leans very libertarian. What is the most compelling argument against right to repair? Oh, the most compelling one that you'll never hear used because it's too true is the right to be an asshole. The right to be an asshole is fundamental to being an American. You can't have freedom without the ability to be an asshole. I'm allowed to say that somebody's ugly as they walk down the street. It's not illegal. I shouldn't do it. It's a fucked up thing to do. It's mean. It doesn't add to society or benefit in any way, but I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to not give you something. I'm allowed to... why am I not allowed to be an asshole? So I sold you something. I told you you owned it. But if it breaks in a year, I have destroyed every ability you have through exclusivity agreements for you to get that fixed, and now you have to buy it again from me. That's me being an asshole. But once you are not... Oh, thanks for doing City Walks with 360 View. It's a nice way to see New York from a distance. Thank you. Thank you for the 5 chiffs. I appreciate the 5 chiffs. But once you start eroding the right to be an asshole, that's a slippery slope into eroding freedom. And you've seen how the last 2 years have gone. I mean, just your freedom to be able to jog outside your house in Rhode Island down a block while wearing a mask on an empty block was taken away from you. Imagine what happens if we take away people's right to be an asshole as well. They're already trying to take away your right to just live your life as a normal human being, and now we're doing that? That would be what I would be saying if I was an anti-right to repair lobbyist. I would be pushing the right to be an asshole. I have T-shirts with right to be an asshole with a picture of Cartman on it. You know, like get people who like South Park to be into this. Seriously, there's so many better ways to do it than safety, security, privacy. Because all that stuff's bullshit. The privacy, bullshit. Safety, bullshit. Security, all bullshit. I can't respect those. The one argument I would be able to respect that's anti-right to repair is in this country, you reserve the right to be an asshole. And that's a right that just fundamentally has never been trampled over.
Robust.
Just watched your video on investments. I started to invest a little every month. Today I have a cushion of $3,500. I'm glad, and I hope you're doing it in a way that's responsible and sustainable. Thank you, Alexander. Have you ever gotten your IQ tested? I did when I was in early high school, and it was really stupid because it made me think I was way smarter than I was, and then I made a bunch of stupid decisions because I thought I was smart when I'm not actually smart at all. That number, yeah, getting an IQ test was one of the stupidest things I've ever done. One of the stupidest. The stupidest. Man, I was walking around with that stupid fucking ego. Look at me, I'm smart. No, I'm a fucking idiot. The most dangerous thing on planet Earth is a person who thinks they're smart. I swear to God. The most dangerous person that's going to fuck up their life worse than anybody else, a person who thinks they're smart. Positives and negatives on patents on innovation. I am not familiar enough to be able to say. To be able to answer a question like that, I really do feel like I should do some research. And to give a take on that here is really not going to be good. It's not going to be good. I'm sorry. I feel bad. You gave £2, but I'm going to give you such a shitty answer to that question. I think the negative is how long the patent lasts for. And I think the negatives are the trolling. Like the people that tried to sue Newegg because they were using a shopping cart. The pro is that if I make something, then I am incentivized to put in that investment because I know someone else is not going to steal it immediately. But the negative is that the way that we've implemented patents have allowed for massive patent trolling. And again, just the fact that you had companies like Newegg that had to defend the right to have a shopping cart, it's insane. It's hard to make a law that anticipates all the ways in which assholes will use it against you later on in a manner that you don't want in society. It's really difficult. Once you lose the overall overarching rules of society, you're stuck with the tyranny of tens of thousands of tiny ones. Because if you just make one rule, don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole is easy. But when you lose that rule, then you wind up with the tyranny of hundreds of thousands of really, really tiny laws telling you specifically how not to be an asshole. And when you try to specify how not to be an asshole, well, then somebody finds a loophole around it or someone finds a way to exploit it. And it's always like the shopping cart shit. Like you buy a patent from somebody who buys a patent from somebody who buys a patent, and now you could sue Newegg because they're using a shopping cart. It's once you lose the big rules, once you lose the overarching themes and philosophies, then you're stuck with a tyranny of tens of thousands of small laws because you've lost the main principles. And thank you, Remedius. When are you getting married? Ha ha! Funny. Yeah, about that. No. When they change the legal system. When someone hits Control-A, delete, Control-S, and then decides they're going to start from scratch with all of our laws and how we deal with marriage and family court. Yeah, right. Do you have kids? I have cats. Let's not forget Rambus. That's not a dog, that is a squeaky toy, says Mario. Huh. A vaccine is literally a medical procedure called a surgery. I don't think any normal average person calls getting a shot a surgery. I get where you're coming from, but you're you're off in the deep end there. And oh man, yeah, you're in the deep end there. I'm not even going to read the rest of that. That's the deep end. That's the deep end of the pool, sir. This country was built by immigrants, Bezzy says. Was it built by immigrants or was it built by settlers? I guess that may be a distinction without a difference there, but... Where's your Bluetooth headset set up now? I use Shure SE425s that I got refurbished for about $89 with the wireless setup. But, yeah, the microphone in it sucks. And all the ones that have a really good microphone have shitty earpieces. But all the ones that have a good earpiece have shitty microphones. Like the Shure has amazing earpiece, but shitty microphone. It's impossible to find one that does both. Where I live, bring in refurb. What do you do to stay in great physical shape? I'm not in great physical shape. Look at this. I got like stuff on my sides and also I wouldn't call myself in good shape. Nothing wrong with immigrants, but 88,000 people coming from Iraq not being COVID tested and being brought to Wisconsin and Texas. Hello, Erica. Yeah, they'll probably be better neighbors than the people coming from New York. Let's see. Have you seen any new studies coming out of Israel about Delta? Yes, I did a video on it last week. It got many downvotes. I don't care. Rossmann going to be dating Angelina Jolie? No, I don't think so. She has kids with somebody else. No. If someone has kids, it's like, go back to the person you had the kid with and make it work out with them. I'm not fucking with that. I'm not getting in between that. No. But also, she's like a multi-millionaire celebrity, and I'm a D-list YouTube bum with $92K in debt to his landlord. Any thoughts on universal basic income? Universal basic income will go one of two ways. Behind door number one, it will result in a renaissance because people who are doing otherwise shitty jobs, who will be freed from them, will be able to focus on what they actually want to do. And because of the way the Pareto principle works, it's really only like the square root of the people involved in doing anything wind up doing half of the work. So if you have 9 people working, 3 people are doing half the work. Conversely, if you have 10,000 people working, 100% of those people are doing half of the work. So if you can get even a small number of people in society to actually produce something amazing that they're not producing amazing because they're stuck working at Walmart or some shit dead-end job, then that may improve society vastly in a way that moves us forward and funds the universal basic income. That's outcome number one. Outcome number two could be that it causes a bunch of people to be lazy, quit their jobs, not go to work, and now we have no money to pay for the universal basic income, causing hyperinflation and society to collapse in on itself. Which one of those will happen? I have no fucking clue. Unlike most politicians, I don't pretend to know everything. I have no idea which way it will go. The only invention that has extended human life more than vaccines was the invention of fire. I get vaccinated for everything, why get sick? I do too. Again, if you're curious about the concerns that people have about the vaccine, there's a guy in my Discord that made the documents that I am going to be presenting to the virologist PhD and the coronavirus PhD to go through, and they are concerns, and I would like to address them. They exist. The one thing that drives me nuts about what you see in media is they don't actually address the actual concern. And it's really weird because they have the budget to. I'm offering these people money. So I'm saying, listen, if you come on my show and answer these questions, I will pay you an amount of money that is far more than the $0 that this demonetized YouTube video will get me for the good of society. The people that are on these major news networks, they have billions and billions of dollars. They could definitely pay to actually go through every single one of the anti-vaxxer concerns and respond to them without being a condescending prick. But they don't, and that pisses me off. Did you see the Supreme Court paper stating that CDC stance was since landlords have wealth, they should be the ones to bear the financial burden of the pandemic? I did not. Post that in my Discord in the philosophy politics section, or the letters to Lewis section of the Discord, because I would like to read it. I think that would be interesting. How do you think this new SEC policy that sets minimum percentage of minorities and board members will end up? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. That's gonna be a bit of a mess, I think. That's gonna be a bit of a mess. I don't know. I get it. They're trying to correct for historical grievances and aggravate, but you're doing it by forcing people to put certain people in positions, and that's going to be a mess. I think it's going to be a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. I know that it's different for Fortune 500 companies than it is for me. Like, I have 14 employees, and I also can't afford to pay what a Fortune 500 company can, so I got to fucking take what I can get. I got to take what I can get, whatever is available, and I don't have the luxury of being able to say, this person, this race, this person, that religion, this person, that gender kind of thing. Like, you need to show up. You need to know how to do this shit already, because I can't fucking afford to train you for 6 months or figure out if you're good. And you need to get to work. Like, I can't afford, I don't have the ability to pick and choose. But that's different for a Fortune 500 company. Like, you know, Dell or Cisco or, I don't know, LG or other companies have the ability to afford to do things like that. I think their argument is really just, you know, in a country of 320 million people, I mean, in a company of 500,000 people, you couldn't find one black person to be on your board. Like, I get where they're coming from. I suppose I'm worried about it trickling down to smaller businesses where you just don't have enough people or enough money to be able, the luxury to make these types of decisions. An older woman in Florida sold her hotel to a grandnephew $50,000. A realtor she barely knew saw that this got her placed in a conservatorship, taken to nursing home, and she got COVID and died. What? That doesn't make sense. Wait, sold her hotel to a grandnephew. Okay, a realtor who she barely knew saw this, got her placed in a conservatorship. That's weird. Conservatorships seem like scams.
Robust.
Not anti, but 75% effectiveness will cause mutation. Yeah, we'll see. I am 10 minutes behind in chat. Fuck. What am I missing? Here's AT&T a-hole move. If you complain about the crappy DSL service and lack of it in some areas, they will be quick to reply that it's called Uverse. I don't get it. Do you believe that people should be allowed to smoke in restaurants? I assume the answer is no, so how can you side with people that don't want to get vaccinated and endanger the public like smokers? Good question. Firstly, I think that you should be allowed to smoke in a restaurant to the extent that a restaurant allows smoking inside of it. I probably would not go into a restaurant that allows smoking because I find smoking to be particularly disgusting. Secondly, the amount of harm that gets done to me, at the very least, as a vaccinated individual, I am more harmed by someone smoking a cigarette next to me than by someone who has COVID who is 30 feet away from me talking or laughing. I could be wrong there. I could be wrong, not an epidemiologist. But someone smoking is doing more harm to me in that moment if I am a vaccinated human being, assuming that what I was told about the vaccine actually is true. As someone who got 2 shots of Moderna, I am more harmed by you smoking in that restaurant than I am by someone who is not vaccinated talking in that restaurant. Someone who's not vaccinated talking in that restaurant is not going to result in, in layers of grease and shit turning yellow everywhere and all this, and the general veneer of disgust that you get when people smoke in indoor settings. But I would say there's more damage being done to my lungs from someone smoking next to me and me inhaling it, and my general experience of life in that moment, than someone who is not vaccinated being next to me in that moment, if I am vaccinated. I don't defend Newegg's right to bundle exploding PSUs. I don't get it. I like PC and Power Cooling back when they had the best Ripple ratings with the Turbo Cool. I used to have a Turbo Cool 510 on my computer back in the day. COVID vaccine contains microchip that government uses to track uses. Nice try, bro. That sounds like bullshit. That sounds like total bull. You don't need a fucking chip in a vaccine to track you. They have this, and you use it all the time, and you're never going to get rid of it because you're hooked to it. You are hooked to this thing. The government's been able to track you anywhere they want for a long fucking time. They don't need a vaccine to do that shit, man. They do it already, and you choose for it to be done. We all choose for it, admittedly. You look like you're in great physical shape. I am in garbage physical shape, man. Good luck collecting rent when the tenant says Newsom says I don't have to pay you. Hey, I think in states where that happened, you're going to wind up only having very large landlords be present. Like with my place. I mean, I could have not gotten kicked out without paying. Am I not going to pay? No. And do I owe $92,000 in back rent for a year and a half? Yes. But I did pay. Well, I paid most of it. I didn't pay all of it, but I paid a good amount of it. I'm not going to pay nothing. I get it. There are dicks out there that are just going to pay nothing because they can get away with it. I didn't do that. It's like, okay, business sucked this month. Here's $6K. Okay, business was better this month. Here's $10K. Business was even better this month. Here's $20K. Okay, business sucked this month. Here's $6K. That's what I was doing with my landlord. They weren't really happy with it, but again, I could live with that because I did something. I didn't just say, I'm giving you zero because I can get away with it. Context of the conservatorship later if you want to read it, and that's a link that I can't click because it's on my fucking screen. Fuck it. I'll Google it. I will Google it because I can't write that out right here because I can't copy and paste stuff that's on my OBS screen. Conservatorship, hotel owner. Thank you. And thank you for the $19.99. That's more than I deserve. How did talks to your landlord go for the store? We're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of that. I'm about to make them an offer that they are most likely going to want to chase me out of the store with a hammer with. I have an offer to make them. I had a preliminary conversation. Next up is my offer. My offer is going to fucking piss them off. There's really no way around it. I have an offer, but they're not going to be happy with it. Thoughts on nuclear fission and its demonization? Dude, I'm a college dropout. Stop. What are your thoughts on CRISPR and DNA modifying? What are your thoughts on nuclear fission? Like, come on. I failed freshman chemistry. I don't know how to give you your 2 pounds back, but I can't answer that question. I say to anyone, look up, let's see. Oreo. That's not Clinton. Clinton does not cry like that. Any story behind the sheep is your logo? The sheep is honest. There was a picture that somebody posted in IRC almost 20 years ago now that I used to like using as a meme. The sheep is honest and he doesn't rip you off. And there was a business that I used to work at for 4 days before I quit in this industry that ripped people off. So the sheep is humble. The sheep does not rip you off. The sheep is just a humble little sheep. If you're so stupid, how come you're adding to society in many ways? Multiple businesses? I have one business and it is semi-failing. Political initiatives? There's a lot of stupid people involved in political initiatives. Trust me that. Don't you mean you lack the cunning? No, I just don't give myself that much credit. I think other people give me credit because they see a very limited portion of me. They see the 20 minutes a day that I'm willing to record and put on YouTube. You don't see the other 23 hours. If you saw the other 23 hours, you'd probably have a much lower opinion of me and what I do.
Robust.
Would you prefer support a $1 annual YouTube paywall in order for people to be able to see any of your content after, say, 50 freebies? Nah, I don't like the idea of there being a paywall because even if people can afford something, it's psychologically that they won't do it. I don't want people to be psychologically incentivized to not watch this stuff because there's a paywall. Most people could afford that, but it's not that. It's that do they want to spend it? And that's often a no.
Robust.
Thoughts on teleporting DMT on atomic orb? Is your channel mostly demonetized? No. The videos where I curse are, and the problem is I curse too much, and I keep forgetting not to. There's some guy says you cannot reason with anti-vaxxers, they don't care about facts. To some extent, correct. What they care about is trust. They don't trust the people that are giving them the facts, and that is the fundamental problem. I think that the thing that needs to be done is repairing the lack of trust that a lot of the country has in a lot of institutions. Because think about it. Did I get the vaccine because of facts? Admittedly, no, because I don't have enough time or enough qualification to independently verify that this makes sense. I am not a virologist. I am not an epidemiologist. I do not have a PhD in coronaviruses. I do not have enough information. I don't have enough education or knowledge or qualification to really understand if this is something that I should get. I get it because I trust other qualified people. The thing is, once you take away that trust in qualified people, now you have to do all the work yourself, and most people are not qualified to, which is how they come to odd conclusions. The thing that needs to be fixed is trust, and that's what's lacking. And like, I just think a lot of people who've dealt with the pandemic over the last year should have read Jim Camp's Start With No before they got on public television. I'll leave that at that. I say to anyone, never look at your dog water under a microscope. What? What is all this weirdness? Okay, that page we're just going to pretend that page didn't exist. Next. Jesus Christ. Okay, that page is just a mess. First draft of my dissertation is done. 143 pages of pure sex, says Daniel Smolin. I'm proud to be able to call you an acquaintance. Good job, Daniel. Do you have side effects from the vaccine? The person who gave me the vaccine said if you had COVID, the second dose will suck. If you didn't have COVID, you won't really notice it. And then I got the second dose, and the second dose felt like COVID light for 2 or 3 days. It sucked. Like, I mean, I just felt like you do when you get sick for a day, and then it didn't suck. And that was that. So, but that was something that made sense to me because I had it in October. I said September or October last year. I forget.
Robust.
I appreciate your videos. For the most part, I agree with you, but I also love screaming back at you through the screen. Thoughts on the new governor? It really just kind of mirrors Larry Sharp's. It's like we used to have an asshole, dictatorial, bully mob boss, and now we just have a crappy queen. You know, it's not a far cry. I want Larry Sharp. The people want Larry Sharp. Sad Dane, if you want to contact me, there are many ways to. What's the best place to hunt down an ISL 9240? Can't seem to find any Apple battery cases near me. A donor's the only way. Donors, yes. Donors. And that sucks. The microchip isn't to track you, someone says. It's to control your mental state through 5G towers when they choose to boost that sick. No. I can't tell if that's real or not. Response to chat, Dave Rubin. He has a standing invite just to get a hold of Sour Patch Liz disregarding the Tim Pool show. I didn't know that they only do that show in person, which I guess is kind of stupid of me because it's Tim Pool IRL or whatever. I have so many places to drive, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to either West Virginia or Washington, D.C. where they film that. And I haven't had time to... I thought it was like a Zoom thing. I'm a noob. I'm 280 pounds. Compared to me, Lewis looks like a Chad. I'm not a Chad, man. Not a Chad. You ever check out Peter Zihan? Cursory. Like, I did a quick Google, but I didn't go through it as much as I was supposed to. I'm feeling pretty robust today, says Daniel Smolin. I'm happy. What's your thought of pineapple on pizza? I'm against pizza. Too high in carbs. I'm anti-pizza. Not anti-vax, very anti-pizza. Too many carbs, not enough nutrition. Too many carbs. That's one of the reasons I'm out of shape, is too many carbs. How do I find business opportunities that make more sense to do than working for a corporation considering the net income and effort ratio? Honestly, you just got to be involved in doing a bunch of shit in the world, and as you're involved in doing things and trying things, you'll eventually find out that you'll go to do something. You'll find out, wait, this is really the best that the world has to offer. So for this service, these idiots are the ones that are making money doing it. Oh, I can do that. That's how my friend started his construction business. It was a niche construction business dealing with high-end schools. And that's how I started this business. I was interning at a recording studio working on some poor guy's album that he couldn't afford to pay me in anything other than liquor at the time, for the most part. And I needed a MacBook so that I could work on it. And I bought one and it was broken. And then I just saw like the horrible options that you had to get it fixed. None of the stores stocked the parts. They were insanely expensive. They used shit. They had bad reviews. And so, man, maybe I can do this. And I did. You just got to be out there in the world. That's the thing. You're not going to find good business opportunities sitting in your chair, even a comfortable one like this. Thanks for introducing me to Right to Repair. I'd love to see you on the Timcast show to talk about Right to Repair. I think they said they reached out to have you as a guest. The thing there is that you have to show up in person, and I have been kind of going everywhere recently. I had to teach last week. The week before last week, I had to be in Vegas. Next week, I'm going to Massachusetts to do a tour of every repair shop in the state. So, like, it's going to be something to try and make that in person. Thoughts on Trump 2024 ad getting age restricted on YouTube? I mean, what do they expect? Then again, I mean, are minors going to be the ones voting anyway? No. What was the ad? I didn't really watch it. Is he seriously running in 2024? Like, just stop. Stop. You had your chance and you lost. You had your chance and you lost. You lost to someone that arguably had dementia. And it's because you spent the 2020 being a jackass. He lost an election that he could have won by being a jackass, going out of his way to just run into every single conflict. Like, he could never just keep his mouth shut for a short period. He could never do these small, like when Alex Azar went to him, who's a Republican, and said, hey, COVID seems kind of serious. You mind if we get $2 billion so we can try to mitigate this early on? You get $500 million. No. I mean, like, he sticks his dick in too much stuff. Let Ron DeSantis have his chance. There are so many people that he pisses off here's the thing. There's a lot of people that voted for Joe Biden that may be open to voting for Ron DeSantis the next time around. But there's also a lot of people all the people that voted for Trump would vote for Ron DeSantis. There are a lot of people who doubt Biden who may vote for Ron DeSantis. But if Trump runs, a lot of people who voted for Biden may vote for Biden again or sit the election out if Trump is the alternative. And all the people who would have voted for Trump last time will vote for Trump. So someone like Ron DeSantis would have a better chance because 100% of the people that voted for Trump would say, yeah, I'm going for Ron DeSantis over Biden. Fuck that. But like, I think it would be a selfish thing if he ran in 2024. He had his chance in 2020. He fucked up and he lost. And there were many things he could have done to win that year. Many things he could have said and done. Small things he could have done so that he got support from people. And he didn't do them. He had to run into the center of every single conflict and just pour a little bit of gasoline on it. It would have taken a minimal amount of work to being a little bit more of a politician, and not even in the bad way for him to win. I don't know. If he runs in 2024, I would think that that's horribly selfish for the Republican Party, when they could let someone who has a much better chance of winning, who would probably be better at pushing through whatever it is they want to push through. G-Rep says, dude, please answer. What are you talking about? Oh, you didn't even ask a question, though. GTFO. Let's see. Good afternoon. You getting any rain your way? There was a lot of rain yesterday. Your opinion of yourself is too skewed. Nope, I'm not undermining myself. It's quite the opposite. If you think too much of yourself, if you think too well of yourself, every time I've thought too well of myself, any time that I've thought I was smarter than I was, better than I was, more virtuous than I was, things fell apart. Every time I'm realistic with myself about who I am and where I'm at and what my intelligence actually is, I'm able to accomplish things. So I don't allow myself. I don't trick myself. That was one of Eli the Computer Guy's rules. He said you could lie to the rest of the world, just never lie to yourself. Daniel Smolin says, this principle you're describing is called rational arrogance, which is built on trust, but as other factors and conspiracy theories fall outside of that concept. Thank you for being a logical and sane voice on YouTube. Thank you, Lead. Well, I don't think I'm very logical, but I appreciate it. When's the Massachusetts tour? It's going to be over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Wasn't there a business you had before which you closed because eBay is a hamster wheel? It is, but there are many other companies that survived. I mean, is ScreenAid still there? Is Bliss Computers not still on eBay? Is Vivo Technology not still on eBay? They all made it work. I couldn't. Why? They were better at business than I was. Admittedly, Bliss also was willing to offer garbage tier customer service, and they still to this date offer garbage tier customer service. Same for ScreenAid. Not for Vivo. But a lot of it was my own fuck-ups. A lot of it were my own fuck-ups.
Robust.
Are humans farmed for DMT-based alien time machine? I will leave that answer to Daniel Smolin, who is a moderator in the chat. Daniel, take it away.
Robust.
Thank you to Switzerland. How many hours of research did you do before you got the experimental injection? If by experimental you mean something that they've been working on for over a decade before issuing it, then sure. I looked up the amount of people that had serious adverse effects that caused medical disability and death, and at the time, it was something like 0.0000003. And then like, that number was so low, like so fucking low, I just figured this, if I'm not afraid of COVID, which is like 0.04% death rate, then I'm not going to be afraid of something with a 0.0000003 rate. Anti-pizza. Indeed. Well, you show that little kitten in your thumbnails for real. That little kitten no longer exists. She is now an old lady. That little kitten is now a grandma. Where's Blackberry?
Robust.
Bring me Blackberry.
She's in her walker.
Can you bring Blackberry?
With her walker.
No, she doesn't have a walker. Just bring me the Blackberry. What do you mean walker?
You said she's a grandma.
Bring the Blackberry. Blackberry? Blackberry. Hi, Grandma. Yeah, she was 6 weeks old in that picture. That picture was taken about February of 2010.
Robust.
You have to go to Nick Rakita show, Rakita Law. I forget if there was that one or a different show, but there was one guy who all of you were asking me to go on who said that he's booked up until mid-October. I think that was it. I don't know if it's that or a different one. Viva Frey, that was the one. Okay, it's not. It was a similar one, not Rakita. I don't know if they work together or not, but yeah, it was Viva Frey. He's booked up until October. Did you make a video of you teaching board repair? Yes, I made 600 of them. Nobody watches them, though. I have a playlist. There's over 600 videos of me teaching board repair. Nobody cares. Nobody watches that shit. Is it just me or is Lewis out of focus? Nonsense. That stock kit used lens is totally in focus. Erica, this is not going to work. He's afraid. If you put him on the chair, he's going to run away because he's going to tell that the Oreo scent is there. Does voter ID make voting easier or harder? I suppose harder because then you have to deal with the DMV to get an ID. Any book recommendations, fiction or nonfiction? As always, Jim Camp start with no. I think that should be mandatory reading for everybody as a kid, instead of some, bullshit old Shakespeare novel or something. Jim Camp start, like, what do you get from reading Othello? Read Jim Camp start with no. Make kids read that. So when people are pro voter ID, here's the thing: when people are anti voter ID, I think that part of the thing that should be extended there is a desire to fix the DMV so it sucks less. I had to deal with the DMV back and forth for 3 weeks. They were going to suspend my license because they thought I was still driving a car without insurance, whose plates I surrendered almost 3 months ago. It is likely native Linux PCs will be the future of digital computing. I don't know. I mean, people have been saying Linux in the desktop for over 20 years, and it's still, most people I see are using Windows or a Mac. I think Linux has got to the point where your average everyday person could use it, but for me, there's just so many things that are missing that I can't even pay for if I wanted to pay for. I wouldn't be about paying for the software that I can use on Windows. It would be about me paying someone to develop it from the ground up, and that's just not something I want to do. I don't want to pay a developer, hundreds of thousands of dollars to make something. What do you make of Elon's iBot? Elon should focus on making his cars actually work the way that he advertised that they would work several years ago. So, for instance, when you release something called full self-driving, but it says in the disclaimer that you can't just call it full... Yeah, but you fucking called it full self-driving in the name, jackass. So, like, when people use it as full self-driving, it's because you fucking advertise it as full self-driving. Before you try to make a fucking robot, stick to your lane. You wanted to make cars that drive themselves. You wanted to make robo-taxis and all this other shit. Get your full self-driving to the point where it's not afraid to be able to get off at a fucking exit on the highway. But anyway, stay in your lane, Elon. Fix the shit that you started on before you do new shit. Rikita Law isn't booked up. Get on his show. I will make a note of it. I got to make a note of that. Where's my notes? Also, there was something that I was saying before that, but I forget what it was. Oh, the voter ID thing. Like, again, for someone who leans, I would say, I don't know if I would call myself a conservative. I think by New York standards I am, just because of how skewed the politics is where I live. When someone says voter ID is bad because it's racist, what I would do is I would agree with them and say, okay, let's fix the DMV. Because what makes it harder to get an ID is the fact that the DMV sucks balls. And I think people that are Republican and Democrat can both agree that the DMV sucks. It's horrible. It's a terrible experience. Can we focus on fixing the DMV instead of fighting over whether or not you should have to have an ID to vote? Let's make it easier to get an ID. Let's make it less miserable to get an ID for both white people and black people. I think that would be something that everybody could get behind. I don't see a lot of talk about that. Recently got myself a kitten black cat, named her Calamity. She's impossible to see at night and likes to hang around my feet. That sounds adorable. Good points, but 2020 was rigged. You, sir, have drank the Kool-Aid. You have drank the Kool-Aid. No. Similar to another politician from 2016 that lost and couldn't admit it, run a better campaign. Run a better campaign. He ran a shit campaign, man. He had everything that he needed in order to win, and he fucked it up, and he got to live with that. Same thing as Hillary. Like Hillary, you can make 2 or 3 speeches at the Rust Belt. Go to the Rust Belt, just have a conversation. Just try to turn off bitch face for a moment and just try to speak to these people that lost their fucking factory jobs and pretend you give a shit. You won the election, Hillary. Trump, say less stupid shit on Twitter in May and June of 2020. Just slightly less stupid shit. When something bad happens, try to say, listen, I disagree with looting all this. Here's what we should do to try to come together as a country. Here's what we can do to make things better. When Alex Azar says, hey, maybe we could spend a little bit more on COVID here rather than spend $5 trillion later. What do you think of that? No. Trump could have had it. He tried. He really did. He lost a lot of support. He lost a lot of suburban women that he was trying to cultivate with the whole safety and law and order narrative. He lost a lot of people that he didn't have to lose. And there's a lot of times where I'm sure there were people around him telling him, hey, man, you may want to think before you say or do this. Hey, listen, I agree with what you're doing here. Could you say it this way? And he didn't. He's got nothing. And then he blames it on election fraud. It's like, no, that's you, man. That's you. You lost. Have you seen Elon's neck scar, from Kingsman? I don't follow Elon, and I don't care much about Elon. I don't hate him. I don't like him. I just don't care about his cult of personality. I don't have a burning hatred in my heart for Elon. I don't love him. I have it. I don't care. Would you say interacting with people is a foundation for doing business? Am I screwed if I deliberately avoid people because of how bad they are? Yes. I wouldn't say you're totally screwed, but you're going to miss out on a lot of money. You're going to miss out on a lot of money. What I notice is that when I'm interfacing with customers and their problems, I'm actually much better than I am interfacing with normal people. So if I'm at a party, no idea what to do. I go to a bar, no idea what to do. There's a cute girl over there I'd like to ask out, no clue what to do. Customer walks in the store, they don't trust me, they're afraid, they don't want to spend money, they think I'm a ripoff. I could convert that customer into somebody that's laughing, enjoying themselves, feels comfortable, wants to bring it here, wants to leave it here, even if we're not the cheapest place. I can do that inside of 10 minutes, and I do it very, very well. I can turn someone who wants to leave a 1-star review and a chargeback into a 5-star review and a tip. I can do that. But I'm not good at dealing with people outside of my core competence, which is, MacBook repair or data recovery at work. You are going to have to learn how to deal with people. You are. And it's going to be a good thing because here's the thing, if you're good at your job, you're going to make people happy. And you're going to then have a lot of positive experiences with people. And those positive experiences you have with people are going to be the foundation that gives you the confidence necessary to have good dealings with them. If you're not going to be able to, here's the thing, businesses have customers. So if you're one of the people that says, I love this business, but I hate the customers, you're going to fail, or you're going to do worse than your competitors. I do way better than my competitors that hate their customers. It's just, you can't win against your competition if your competition enjoys making their customers happy and you hate even talking to them. You're not going to win against them. You'll get eaten and butchered every time. Stop ringing, phone. Why are you vibrating? Who are you and what do you want? Oh my God, Slack is the most annoying thing on earth. I don't know, why does... It actually vibrates every time someone talks in a channel I'm in, even if I'm not getting pinged. Slack is such a piece of...
Do you want me to turn off the settings?
No, I just have to leave that one Slack. It's annoying. Let's see. I never talk there anyway. Do you believe in extraterrestrials? I will when I meet them. Bye-bye, Dutch Sailor, for your troll. Bye-bye. That's low quality. Low quality. Let's see. What do you think of the up-and-coming Canadian election? I don't follow Canadian politics because they don't affect me. What motivated you to start your own business? I was broke. I found an opportunity to not be broke. I wanted to stop being broke. Also, I had worked for 1.5 years for somebody else's business building their dream, and they gave up on their dream, and then they closed. And that taught me a lesson to not work to build other people's dreams and rather to build my own. And to put my money where my mouth was, because I would always tell this guy, here's what I think you should do. I think you should do it like this. I think you should do this like that. And he wouldn't, and then he failed. And then that was also the guy that told me to hire Eugene, by the way. So I guess, failure runs in failure circles. But the thing is, I have failed a lot. But the thing is, when I fail, when I fuck up, when things go bad, at the very least it failed based on my decision, not based on somebody else's. And I can live with that. I can live with having my own vision, having my idea, and then failing. But I can't live with watching somebody else's vision fail when I don't even believe in their vision. If I believe in my vision and my vision fails, I could live with myself. But I'm not following other people off a cliff when I know that they're walking off a cliff. I don't want to do that anymore. Why does your girlfriend love Oreo so much? I don't know. I think she has bad taste in men. She has horrible taste in men. She's giving me the stink eye. But you have bad taste in men. Horrible taste in men.
Where's my pencil?
He's running away because he's scared.
No.
You got up. He's afraid of the threat.
No. Oh, my pencil. Here.
You can't even spell should, Dutch Sailor. Get the fuck out of here, you Dunning-Kruger motherfucker.
Look at this handsome face. Look at this face.
That is Dutch Sailor. You are Max Dunning-Kruger. That is just Google Dunning-Kruger. Try. Let's see. I'm in Dedham, Massachusetts. Love to meet you. Well, we're going to be doing two things. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be trying to meet as many of the repair shops on this list and others, assuming they get back to me. Let me just put the link. I'll post it in the chat here. And the second thing that I want to do is I want to do a general meetup. So I'll be doing a general meetup around Boston or Cambridge where anybody who wants to show up can show up. With like repair shops, people, whatever. And the next thing I want to do is great work with the glasses and caring for people. Thank you, CDR. And I don't think I've done great work with that yet because I haven't gotten the deal finalized with the makerspace. But I hope to do that in the next week or two. The next thing I want to do is actually meet all these places in person, give them some stuff that they could hand out to their customers that I think would help get Right to Repair push forward faster, and just kind of, solidify a relationship to where they will actually show up on a lobbying day, which my colleague has tried and not gotten the turnout that I'm looking for. Excuse me.
Hey, really quick question. Do you like the kitty litter we use right now?
It's fine.
It's feline time.
Erica, why are you obsessed with litter?
No, someone asked a question. Which one
Oh.
do we use?
Erica talks about the cat litter a lot. Sharp got my vote, says Jester. Yeah, but you're in the EU. You don't count. There's no Larry Sharp in the EU. Yeah, Biden's campaign was so good. Biden's campaign was really simple. I'm a grandpa. I'm not going to fuck with shit. I'm not going to scare you. I'm a return to 8 years ago. Wasn't things so much nicer 8 years ago? Well, that's what I am. I'm a grandpa in a rocking chair, and I'm not going to fuck shit up. That was it. And I'm not Trump. Like, that was it. That was the campaign. I don't think that campaign would have worked against Ron DeSantis. But I think it worked against Trump, because Trump fucked himself. Like, he didn't realize how unlikable he became outside of small members, outside of a segment of diehard fans. And that's important. Trump won in 2016 because fake news and the internet reached critical mass. That's not the whole story. I think he won because Hillary ran a shitty campaign, and also because Hillary did, like, all she had to do, go to the Rust Belt, not even care, pretend to care. She couldn't do that. Like, because again, what Trump did with a lot of the coal shit was pandering. These people all coal miners that lost their jobs, like, where were they in 2019 and 2020? Like, just as fucked as they were in 2016. But he pretended to care. That's all you got to do. You don't have to care. You got to pretend to care. Can you at least pretend to care, Hillary? Pretend to care about people in Middle America as half as much as you cared about killing Gaddafi when you were laughing like a maniac when being interviewed about it. Like, can you do that? Can you get like a quarter as excited about helping people in Middle America who just lost their manufacturing jobs and factory jobs as you are about murdering people overseas? No, you can't. That's why you lost. Accept the L. Politicians don't accept the L anymore. It's rigged. It was Russia. It was fake ballots. Oh, there's nothing to do with me, me fucking up my campaign. Oh, well. Shit drives me nuts.
Robust.
Do you think Snowden will die in exile? I think that it's going to be a generational thing. I think that the old generation needs to get out of office. And once the new generation's in office, Snowden will have freedom. So what I noticed, and this is going to sound very prejudiced, but I don't care. Back in 2000, around 2013, 14, when all this shit came out, there was a line in the sand that I noticed. Everybody I spoke to that was under the age of 40 to 42 thought Snowden was a hero. And everybody I spoke to that was over the age of like 42 to 45 thought Snowden was a traitor. it really was interesting because it didn't matter if I was in a red state or a blue state. It didn't matter if I was speaking to someone in a rural area or someone in a city area. It didn't matter if I was speaking to someone of high socioeconomic status or low socioeconomic status. It was really interesting to me that my experience was that it was purely, bro. See, now you're trying to get me to show you my ass without having an OnlyFans. And that's not going to happen. Actually, it may happen because OnlyFans changed the decision on allowing their website to finance porn. Maybe, we'll see. I completely forgot what I was talking about there. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought entirely. Lewis, love the show with Larry Sharp. Thank you, Missy Richmond. Thank you for having him come on. And I'm very sorry that it took 2.5 years for me to make the time for that. He has my vote next time he runs for governor. And my endorsement. Can you shout out Nathan, please? Shout out to Nathan Proctor at US Perg. People are throwing money away into space. It is fake. Y'all are nuts. Okay, how do you have GPS then? Come on. Tell it to me, you genius flat earthers. Where does GPS come from? What's the hardest part of starting your own business? Having no money. Having to take the $268 and just keep rolling it back in and figuring out what to roll it back in. Do I buy 3 A1181 screens or do I buy 1 A1181 screen, 1 A1150 screen, and 1 A1226 screen? And what do I tell my customers as an excuse as to why it is that they have to wait 2 or 3 days for a repair? I remember I used to pretend in the beginning, I used to make it sound like I needed to schedule it 2 or 3 days out because I was so busy rather than because I needed to order it because I had no fucking money. Because when you tell someone, oh yeah, I'm so broke, I actually have to buy the part that I'm using just for you, they tend to trust you less. Sam Fields, Forever Fields, was one of the studios I interned at. He looked at me and said, Lois, you always make it look like you have to work them in. He had no teeth, he had that accent. He's like, Lois, we are always fully booked. And then it's like, no, there's nobody in it. We're always fully booked. And then he would show me the book and there'd be nothing in it. And he would just keep yelling that at me. Because I was in front of a client. He's like, because what happens is when you let the client think that you're not fully booked, what they do is they show up late or they don't show up at all and they try to reschedule for later. But if they think they're fully booked, they always show up on time. Yeah, those are fun times in the beginning. Not having money sucks. Do you believe that politics for a neighboring superpower will not affect you? Not to the degree that you think it does. Again, if Osama bin Laden was running for premier of Canada and he was in the lead, sure. But right now, again, the whole like Trudeau versus somebody else, it's good for a laugh, but it's not something that is going to destroy my everyday life. The same way that, let's say, I don't know, like Osama bin Laden running for, that position, running against Trudeau and having 50% support would. I also don't think Canada is a superpower. A power, not a superpower. I actually was going to email you, Mega Mobile, but I couldn't because I couldn't figure out how to email you on CPR's main website. So I never put you on the list. But send me an email, lewis@fighttorepair.org, if you want to be part of this. The media, which is controlled by the left, made Trump divisive. That's not Trump's fault. Just, again, what I would say is look at some of the things that he says. Not the way the media interprets what he says. Just look at what he chooses to say. Like, he's responsible for that. Just want to say thank you for the work you put in educating and empowering people. Just finished fixing a Sega Game Gear. That's the one that has a backlight, isn't it? I was always jealous as a kid of the kids that had a Game Gear because I had a shitty worm light. And they had a backlight on it. But you lost a lot of battery life because that. Remember the Game Gear? Remember when having a backlight was something that made you spoiled? Your portable gaming system has a backlight.
Robust.
Will 1,000 USD get you to use a Mac for a day? 92,000 would get me to use a Mac for a day. There's a reason that's a lucky number for me. 92,000 bucks, I will use a Mac. You know what? 92,000 bucks, I'll use a Mac for the year. That's a discount actually, because if you think about it, 1,000 a day would be 365,000 to use a Mac for the year. I will use a Mac for a year as my exclusive computer, and I'll endorse it on this channel for 92,000 bucks. Sad that that's where we are now, but I would. Sad to your feelings about Trump, time will tell, I guess. At least your heart's in the right place, and you help people around the world. Why is it sad? Like, why do you care? Why do you care if I agree with you on politics? I don't think that's... nobody that... I disagree with most of the people that I know on a number of political things. Like, I don't care.
Robust.
How is the talk with the landlord? We had the preliminary talk. The talk is being followed up by an email. And it's the email that's going to really freaking bury me. It's the email that's going to bury me. We'll see. We had the talk. We had the talk that set things up. So I have an idea of where they are. Now I'm going to hit them with the bomb. The email. Erica just said $1. That's okay. We're not doing that.
What?
We're not doing $1. Not $1, you cheapskate.
Okay.
That's a little unreasonable.
Okay.
Is my name still cursed? I can't read what it says, so yes. Would you pay off your debt and open up an Apple repair store for $92K?
Here, this came
Maybe.
from the line of Paul Daniels. You can
What
get
is
that
this?
for
Can I? Can you zoom on this really quickly? Give me a zoom, Erica. Oh my God! Zoom in, Erica. I got this. I'm gonna offer this. Someone sent me this from the land of Paul Daniels. It's got this lady. Who is she? Margaret Thatcher or something? What is that?
Oh.
Who is that?
Queen Elizabeth.
The same difference to me. I can't tell the fucking difference. But
You keep it at 32, yeah?
35. Okay. I'll give him that. No, but seriously, I have a really, really unpleasant... I have an unpleasant set of negotiations in the next week. But it's going to dictate what I do going forward. I need to make a choice. I need to have a direction as to what it is I'm doing going forward in my life. And I have lacked that direction for the past year and a half. And I need to get that direction so I know what the fuck to do with a number of different things. And what I've done is I've continued to add new things to my plate, like bigger store, new services, let's do workshops at these maker spaces, let's try to push forward right to repair in 17 states. Like, I need some direction on some basic shit. And I think that this is the first step towards getting that direction. We'll see what they say. He won partially because political correctness became something a lot of people were really pissed off and annoyed by. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. All Trump had to do was stay off Twitter and he would have a much better chance of being reelected. Oh, if he deleted his Twitter, he probably would be here right now. But again, what was more important to him? What was more important to him? Being a troll or getting elected? Are you a Sliwa fan?
Robust.
Not really. I think if it was Sliwa versus de Blasio, I'd go with Sliwa. But Eric Adams against Sliwa, Eric Adams is not horrible. He's not... Because, like, Sliwa openly admitted Open future of repair with computers with ARM. Whether a computer is ARM-based or Intel-based has nothing to do with the availability of an ISL 9240. It has nothing to do with the availability of a CD3215. It has nothing to do with the availability of a CD3217. It has nothing to do with the availability of a schematic or a diagram. It has nothing to do with whether or not the company will allow me to buy a screen for their computer. Intel, ARM, or AMD does not matter. What matters is whether I get access to the things that I need. So it doesn't matter. It's a non sequitur. It's like saying, how does I don't know. How about this? It's like saying, how does the internal color of how does the color of the bones inside a woman's body affect whether or not you want to date her? It's just like nobody cares. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with it. Like when Eric Adams said, yeah, I'd carry a gun in modern New York City. We have a safety problem that we should fix. It's like, oh, you have a brain. Okay, cool. So you're someone that's potentially votable. Like Sliwa, the thing is, he admitted that he faked a bunch of these stunts that he did where he wanted to pretend that he was a hero, and that's a big problem. And I wanted to interview him and ask him a lot of questions and not have I wanted to have him on for an interview like I did with Larry Sharp. He never came on. I still get spammed to this day with Curtis Sliwa emails that really are just, it's bottom of the barrel advertising looking for support in a very cheap way. But the email that I sent about an interview got nowhere. Like I asked, okay, here's a bunch of problems. How are you going to fix them? Now, granted, okay, fine. You could say whatever. He doesn't want to talk to someone who only has 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube. He doesn't want to talk to someone who only has 900,000 views in several of his videos talking about the city going to shit. All right, fine, cool. I'll vote. You know, if you don't want to answer for a lot of this shit, then fine. I'm not. But the thing is, you're not going to get great candidates to run for the Republican Party in New York City because they know they're going to lose. They know it's pointless. So most of the people who actually would be really good candidates, they're not going to waste their time on it because they're not going to run a losing campaign for a year and a half. It's a waste of their time. I hope you see this. You gave me motivation advice for losing weight a month ago. I committed yesterday. 310 pounds. I jogged a mile in 14 minutes. My legs are burning. Feels like motivation. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, I walked for I did about a 10-mile walk yesterday after eating some garbage, and yeah, it feels good. Feels good. I'm proud of you, Jazz Renfro. Again, one step at a time. 310 pounds today. Here's the thing. Even if you don't lose weight, here's the way you have to think of it. If I didn't do what I did, I would be heavier. I'd be 315 to 320. Even if you don't get far, you're further along than you would have been if you did nothing. That's the important part. Do it every single day. Get one step closer every day. Person, woman, man, camera. I don't get it. No clue. Oreo. Little Pasta Salad said it has a fluorescent backlight and the screen is blurry as hell. I don't remember the Game Gear being blurry. But then again, I haven't seen a Game Gear in 25 years. Thoughts on 3D printed ghost guns? I know what a gun is. I don't know what a ghost gun is. What's a ghost gun, Erica? Why do people ask me questions about ridiculous shit I don't know anything about? I fix MacBooks. Now you have to Google what a ghost gun is? What are unregulated firearms that anyone can buy and build without a background check? To my knowledge, 3D printing technology with cheap stuff, and this is very little knowledge because I don't know shit about guns. If you 3D print a gun, you're not getting a lot of actual uses out of it before it dies. It's not like and I could be wrong here, because again, you're asking someone who lives in New York about guns. It's not, if you 3D print a gun, it's not like you have an AR-15. You have something that may do 1 or 2 shots and then it's deformed and screwed up and can't make another shot. So I don't think it would be very effective for a mass murder. To be honest, Lewis, there are no heroes. People just have to monitor the local primaries, but DNR to clean out the jokers and bribe figures. Yeah, George Carlin had a really good skit on why we get bad politicians. George Carlin had a good skit on why we don't get good politicians.
Robust, robust, robust.
I know, I saw. I know. That's a copy and paste of what the other person said. I know. Let's see. Mr. Frank Zappa's song Valley Girl wasn't released in the 70s, it was released in 1982. Didn't he start writing it earlier? I'm pretty sure he started writing that in the late 70s. Oh, we're going to find this. Let's see. There's the release date, and then there's when it's... It appeared on a 1982 album. Let's see. Valley Girl was picked up then. Culture Response. I believe that was... Fuck. Okay, I can't look that up right now. I'm already at 6:45 in the chat, and I'm already 7 minutes behind. Next. Why so many questions about Trump? I don't know. The same reason as so many questions about Elon. People like their cult of personalities. People love their cult of personalities nowadays. What is this?
It tells you where. Look at the mud.
What is this?
It's mango.
It's mango. Mango water? It's weird.
Can I zoom in on your mud?
Can you post videos from micro soldering workshops? I posted a video from the last one. I am going to get a computer, but then I also have to find someone.
Robust.
Texas Instruments is mandating vaccine for all employees. I mean, the good news is that you have a 0.0000003% chance of an adverse side effect from it. Not like they're asking you to eat shit. It's not like they're asking you to eat shit. There are worse things in the world than taking a COVID vaccine, honestly. Can you post videos from micro soldering workshops? I was posting them, but the thing is, I was also the one recording it. I don't know if I could expect the tech to actually operate OBS in real time, so I'd probably have to find someone like Hi to be able to do that alongside him, but I don't even have the person that could do it as a tech yet, and I have to finish up the arrangement with the makerspace, but I'd like to post them. You good things, greets from Germany. Thank you. I don't plan on doing Zoom learning, if that's what you're asking. Like, that's a joke. Like, Zoom soldering workshops is not something that I'm going for. Like, this is going to be random people showing up with their broken shit and us going over it in real time and us trying to show them how to work on it. Like, I can't do that effectively with a group of 10 people. I can't have 10 people's microscopes on screen at the same time and, like, be walking you through it like that. It's going to be an experience that you have to show up for. And it's free. I'm not doing it to make money. It's free, what we're going to do with these makerspaces, but it's just not the type of thing where it's going to be the same if you're not there in person. How often does the CPU itself die in MacBooks? Pretty often. As long as you get corrosion on the CPU MOSFETs, you send 12 volts to it.
Robust, robust.
Your thoughts on vaccine passports? Not a fan. Not a fan. You're mad, Y2. You're so mad. So salty. So mad. You mad, bro? Okay, what do we have next? Lewis is reading texts. What's your thought on OSHA possibly making employers who mandate vaccination responsible for any side effects and what may follow from the vaccination? Ooh, that is a good one. Oh, that is a good one. I haven't thought about that. If you mandate what people put in their body, then are you responsible for the outcome of that? I would not be against that. I would not be against that. I suggested my employees get vaccinated. I didn't force them. All of them but one got vaccinated. One of them's the one that didn't get vaccinated is about to vaccinate himself out of a job because he shows up 40 minutes late every day. The store's about to have immunity from... He's about to have immunity from HIF. We have herd immunity again.
It's gonna be a tardiness passport.
Tardiness passport, Erica says, but that's... Our Thai fabs are at capacity until mid-2023. Is that why you can't make me more CD3217s? Okay, about time to get out of here. This was fun. This was fun. So, hopefully this tour that I wind up doing in Massachusetts will not be a complete cluster F. I have a bunch of stores in Massachusetts that I've reached out to. You can see my list over here of stores, and it says whether or not did they reach out to me? Did I reach out to them? So all the stores on this list, I believe, besides one or two that have broken shitty contact forms. Actually, a surprising amount of these have broken shitty contact forms on their site. I deleted them. I didn't put no over here. I just said if you don't have a contact form on your website, then you're out of here. But these are all the ones I reached out to. And on the left column over here, this column H, this is have I heard back from them. And I hope to hear back from some more. So we're going to be doing two things. Behind door number 1, we are going to have a meetup group somewhere in Massachusetts in the Boston or Cambridge area. Where sounds like Apple. Sounds like Apple, White Weasel. So we will have a meetup in Massachusetts where people can come. They can talk, eat, anything like that. And the next is going to be showing up to all these different stores and seeing what I can do to get them on board for my lobbying trip in November. We'll see if this is going to be either the most epic thing that we've ever done for right to repair lobbying that gets things moving forward, or it will be a giant waste of 2.5 weeks of my time. There's only one way to find out. I hope that it is the former and not the latter. But as I told you, and as I just told that guy that's trying to lose his weight, who's 310 pounds, whatever it is that you do, you have to assume that it would have been worse if you did nothing. I don't know if this will work. I don't know. But beats doing nothing. And the amount of effort that I've been putting in for the past 5 or 6 years, it is not enough. It's been a pathetic level of effort that I've put in for right to repair for a long time. I'm going to start putting... we're going to see. I want to win. I actually want to win. I don't want to just show up and record it and then leave and then lose and then get to say, oh, we lost because we didn't have enough money. No, fuck that. That's so defeatist. I want to see what happens. I'm going to put a full-time level of effort into this, and we're going to win. Check out real estate in East Providence, Rhode Island. I have no desire to check out real estate in an area of the United States where they actually have police cars pulling people over for jogging during COVID. Just not interested. I'm just going to drive through that section of the U.S. Thank you very much. Anyway, see you all in the next video. Bye now. Bye now.